Hello. Hi, good evening, everyone. It's Štěpán, Sobě, pánem, se Štěpánem. And tonight I would like to introduce you a special guest, which is Dorothe Trassl. Hello, Dorothe.
Hi, pleased to meet you.
Meeting you too. We've just met today. We've never seen each other before. And the topic for tonight is a trauma and trauma clearing. And I believe that it will be amazing. I've heard so much about Dorothe from the people around the journey, people around me, and I've just never seen her live. And so this is a great occasion for me as well as for you. So welcome once more, Dorothe. Let me ask you, how did you actually get to the topic of trauma? Why is trauma in our life so important? What does it do in our lives? And what is trauma at all? Is it some deep experience we go through? And I'll just ask you the questions which you could be answering for hours. But how did you get to the topic, and what is the trauma in our lives at all?
Okay, so let's start from the beginning. How did I get to do what I'm doing? So I'm a psychologist, I'm a yoga teacher, I'm a journey practitioner. I was the yoga teacher for the journey. And when we do the morning sessions around the journey seminars, we usually start with yoga that opens the channels and the bodies to release emotions. And I was privileged to have been doing that for 10 years or 12 or longer, I don't even know. And I observed that when we open specific areas in the body, that emotions get released. And because I'm a psychologist and I was working with trauma in severe areas like in South Africa, where there's a lot of criminality, there's death, there's people get murdered in front of your eyes, and you have really big shit happening, so to say. And I observed that different cultures treat trauma differently. And so I started to combine the yoga I was doing in the morning with the trauma tools I had acquired earlier. And I combined it in something very unique that I now call the emotion trauma clearing or trauma release, which is using the body to release stuck emotions, stuck energy, and especially also memories that you don't even know about, but that are still running your show. So this is how I got to do what I'm doing. So what is it exactly? So trauma does not necessarily have to be the big accident, somebody killed in front of your eyes. Trauma, if we put it very simply, could be anything that was too much, too soon, too long, or too long missing in your life. Because trauma is not only the big things that happen that you remember, like the accident or my girlfriend left me or my friend was cheating on me, but what trauma also does, when it happens when you are a child, in the form of, for example, emotional neglect. So somebody is not seeing you, not validating your feelings, not respecting your needs. You're not seen, heard. You are told your needs are not important, or whatever, something. It leaves its mark on you because you adopt a role, because your nervous system adjusts, and you never learn about your real qualities, about your core self. And you adopt patterns that can later in life actually limit your life experience. They make you repeat the same patterns over again. They make you seek out the same kind of relationship, and you wonder, and then you leave the one person and think, oh no, that's not for me. And then you end up with a similar situation, but a different person. So as we all know these patterns running in our lives, it is worth exploring. Does it have anything to do with me having been traumatized in a different way than a car accident? And this is what I'm passionate about, because in my private practice here in Munich, especially now in the COVID time, I had a lot of people with anxiety, depression, panic attacks, and with issues around being isolated, being disconnected from other people and then from themselves. So especially in these times, I developed very quick help tools so that people can open up again and release, like, the emotionality with it, the trauma, and actually make a huge progress simply because the times that we are having now is pushing the issue up to the surface. So it's kind of like helping us to get access to what we don't even know we had. That was a long answer. Sorry.
No, that was a good one. From what I understand, the trauma and the way we deal with it basically defines the quality of our life. Do I understand it well? That unless we deal with it, unless we realize we have gone through those traumas. Because, when you name them, it's something which happens, well, maybe on a daily or weekly basis, when something too soon, too early, too much. Well, today I have 3 kids and every day is too much for me. I don't... I don't think that's probably the trauma.
I have 3 kids myself, and I know what you're talking about.
Is that where your trauma journey started?
Absolutely. And you know what? And that is the thing, because we as parents, and I've been there, done that. I got the T-shirt and I'm still doing it. We as parents pass on our trauma to our children as well. So the way you have been treated in your childhood, whether you try to make up for it, whether you try to make it better or not, but it left an imprint on you, and you are passing that trauma on to the people around you, and especially your kids, because you don't want to be like your mother or father, or you do want to be like them, but in a way, what has been missing when you grew up, and what was installed, conditioned into you, the roles you adopted and all of that colors, tints and shades the way you treat your own children and how you raise them. So if you deal with your own trauma, even that developmental trauma, what you didn't get, the neglect, then you liberate and free yourself so that you can treat your children differently. And then you will notice you have a very different experience also parenting, because then you're not parenting from that role self or from the trauma, but you're parenting from your true self. You're parenting from all of your potential, and you can then be the good enough parent for your children who actually can love them enough and can see them enough and can help them to tune in emotionally. And that also you can guide them, because you are then able to also set boundaries in a healthy way and not in whatever the way you were taught, right?
Mm-hmm. So what could happen if we don't work with this? If we don't work with our trauma, we just keep it in ourselves unconsciously or subconsciously, and we trying to live our lives. You said that we just repeat the same mistakes. We attract the similar personalities to ourselves. I have very much issues, which I know I'm just finding out right now. It might be caused by the trauma in my life. Do we have to clear it? Do we have to do something about it? Could this be the way to live more happily and to be more ourselves and being what happens if you don't do it, if you don't realize your own trauma and if you don't work with it?
Well, you can live without dealing with it for a whole life. I just prefer to clear the trauma and live a really full life, because I look, I didn't get where I am because I was having the absolute happy childhood, but I had my own set of traumas that I had to deal with, and this is why I developed it on my own body. And I can tell you, my life experience, my joy of life, my passion, my zest of life, and the joy I get out of it now, being 55, is higher than when I was 25, right, or 15, because now I can be more connected to myself, and by being connected to myself, I can connect to other people in a different way. So my life experience is enriched and fuller than ever before. So I would say, deal with your trauma. Of course, you don't have to do it, but it's so much better if you do. And it's so much more juicy to be with other people, and you will be more juicy for other people, because then all of a sudden you don't react, you don't get triggered and then do the same thing as usual, but you actually get freer to be healthy, responding to what's happening in life instead of just being on autopilot.
And I guess that the trauma in our life starts very early in our lives, when we are little children. Maybe when our parents separate us from at a very early age, when the child can't I don't know be in contact with the mother, and it happened to most of us, from our parents. Or does it even start earlier before that? Even maybe where does it start? When do we start collecting our trauma? Or does it work from our ancestors, or maybe from the previous lives as well? Where does it start? Can you say?
This is really complex, because yes, it can start in childhood early. It can also be later in life. But for many people, they can actually recall that they also had an imprint being already in the womb. So they inherited kind of like the fear pattern from their mothers, or when something stressful happens in the life of your parents while you are not even born. It is, so to say, transmitted to you via the stress hormones that your mother is feeling and you are feeling in the belly too. And then also what you said about the ancestors, they actually know that you can like inherit the trauma from your ancestors because it's something that is being passed down, as I say. The way your ancestors saw life and the way they arranged themselves with life has actually an impact on their children, and so it goes down the line. So very often when I do workshops like in Israel, for example, where there is a lot of collective trauma, it is actually extremely healing because I'm German and I'm coming to Israel, and there's a lot of healing happening because what I have inherited in my genes from my ancestors from the German side and what I'm being confronted with or what is coming up in the audience from the Israel side, okay, leads to an amazing healing and the liberation that is possible and the freedom that happens then and the connection that is then possible is amazing. It's mind-blowing. And of course we do inherit it in a way because it was, I mean, by nature it is useful if your children are already primed for the environment you are growing up in. So it is by nature intended that you are prepared, your nervous system is prepared for the environment you will be born in. So if your mother experiences a lot of stress and anxiety, she will have a different hormonal set in her body. So the baby, they already know that, they have done tests and they already they have a different set in their nervous system that they react to triggers quicker. Because it would have been necessary if you were born in the jungle in a dangerous environment, you need to react much quicker than another person. So this is why some people feel, oh, but I get triggered by everything. And other people say, no, well, I'm calm like nothing, right? So this is simply because your nervous system is set to a different mode. It's physical. It's not your fault.
It's
right?
programmed. Okay, I see.
It's programmed. It's pre-programmed. It's like if you set your alarm, you know, it's going to go off at a certain time. And this is the same with your nervous system. If you do not feel safe where you are, if you do not feel connected to the people around you, you will not relax and let your guard down because it would not be useful. If you were in the jungle in an unsafe environment, it wouldn't be very intelligent to be wide open and doodling along. So it would be better to be protected and defended and careful and watchful. And this is how you end up going through life, not trusting people, being careful, not opening up, you know, isolating yourself, disconnecting, simply because your body is still in the fight-flight system, is still in, oh, I need to defend myself so I survive. And this is how you end up in relationships that are distant or ambivalent or weird in some way, but not open and connected, but kind of like tinted. Not because you're a bad person, but simply because your nervous system is stuck in alarm mode. So I think it's a very good idea to reset your nervous system and say, hey, it's safe now, you can relax. Because many of us haven't realized that we are safe now. So we haven't realized that the trauma is over. We're still in that same mode.
I think it's important to say that Dorothe is coming to Czech Republic in early October. We'll talk about it later, but there's an online course which you can attend. Again, we'll talk about it a bit later. But I hope it's the information you're getting. It's as amazing for you as it's for me, because I was really looking forward to it. And I hope that just talking to you and going through your course and meeting you in person soon could help me overcome, the issues in my life which I've been working with, which I've been, there's certain things I cannot get through in my life, and I hope this could help me to realize them, first of all, to put it in a conscious mind, and then to get rid of it finally, because there are definitely repetitive patterns in my life which come to place. If you can talk about it specifically in my life, it's abundance, the financial abundance. And what's very interesting, that it doesn't actually matter how much money I make, I still feel that I don't have enough. So I've gone through in my life, I've gone through the periods when I've earned lots of money, to the periods where I had no money at all, but the feeling behind it was still the same. I still felt I don't have enough. And,
Yes.
When I realized it in the time when there was lots of money, I realized that I do have the problem here. It's not about how much money I make. but about the way I feel about it.
Yes.
Is this something which could come from the trauma early in my life, or maybe something,
Absolutely.
some pattern which I got from my parents?
Yes.
Is it?
All of the above, unfortunately, or not unfortunately, because you're becoming conscious about it now. And this is why I'm so passionate about talking about it and share it with people, because the minute you start to become conscious about it and you start to question yourself and you start to look back and say, okay, this is weird. I'm kind of like running around. My tank is getting filled all the time, but I'm running on empty always, right? This is exactly the experience that you're describing. So there is no real reason for you to feel like there's a lack of abundance, but you feel it nevertheless. And this is exactly what happens when in your childhood, either because it was in the family system, maybe there was not enough, or maybe it was because you felt as a person not enough, because very often it happens that when we get overlooked, we have bigger siblings, or the parents are busy, or illness happens or something, and there is no attention coming our way. It can happen that with that lack of attention, it feels like the child thinks I'm not worthwhile, I'm unseen, I'm not, I don't matter. And it can happen when your needs had to be overridden a couple of times because whatever life happens, right? It does not, I'm not blaming parents, please, because it happens, right? You're busy, something is on, you have a disabled child, or whatever the matter is, you're depressed, you can't cater for the needs of your children, but then they get the impression I don't matter, or I'm not worthwhile. And that can actually be so deep in your system that you try to fill this void, and I would call it like a big black hole in your belly, and you're trying to fill it with something else, but nothing can fill this hole because it's about being seen and loved and accepted and validated and approved of by whoever your significant other was. And abundance or non-abundance cannot fill the void because it's on a different level. And if I may mention that as well, the reason why we don't get access to this so easily with our talking style therapy and thinking about it and rationalizing is because it is so deep in your nervous system and in your body. It is ingrained in you physically, okay? You are set up this way. So with your mind, you don't reach it in your heart and in your belly, in your body, because it is a real physical thing happening on the level of the nervous system. So you have to turn the whole approach around, and you have to come from the body and kind of like loosen it on the physical side, on the nervous system side, so that you can become aware of the feelings behind it. And then your mind gets the clarity about whatever that is, right? And that's, of course, very individual.
So do I understand that it cannot be solved through the mind? It could be solved through the body, which gives you, which has all the wisdom in itself.
Yes.
And is that the way how you actually walk, how the emotion walks, or the trauma?
Yes, because I experienced in Africa first, and then exploring it with yoga and with shaking and with movement and dance, I was exploring how to use the body to bypass the mind. Because the mind is a beautiful tool. I love it, right? I love it. And it is limited in its capacity to understand what happened at a time where you were not even able to speak, maybe, right? So it is programmed in your body in a different way. So this is why I use the body work. And this is why it's so highly effective in such a short time, because you bypass all this thinking, rationalizing, maybe not, and so on, which actually disconnects you even further. Because what most of us did when we did not feel safe and connected in our family of origin, and if we did not feel seen and loved and accepted and approved of, we kind of like shut the door. So we disconnected in a way. And we stepped out of our real, beautiful, chaotic, weird, and wonderful self, and we stepped into a make-believe role self, something that we thought is wanted, or we were assigned this task, or something like that. But that leaves us disconnected from ourselves. But now, if in your childhood, often enough, you were told, don't be a crybaby, or your needs don't matter, or not now, or something like that. If this was was happening. Huh?
We have all been said, those things.
Of course. And a couple of times this is okay, because you are healing. Your body is a healing machine. So a couple of times is all right. But if it is done over a longer period, this is why I say too long. So if it's not just once or, once a week, but if it's more often and regularly, you will drop that need because it's too painful, because you know your children. It's painful if they don't get what they want, right? But if you are connected to them, you can tune in, right? You can be with them and you can tell them, yes, I understand that you're angry about this. And you know what, love? And you can explain it to them and you can find a way for them to deal with their emotions, their anger, and with the need that cannot be fulfilled now. And you can clear it. But if nobody is there for you, you're sitting with your anger, you're sitting with your pain, and you don't know what it is. You don't know what you're feeling. And then you actually get told off, don't be a crybaby. Or when you are angry and, you throw your tantrum and then you get a slap or whatever you got in your youth, then it's ingrained in your being. It's not all right. I'm not all right. Feeling this is not all right. My need is not all right. And then you switch it off. You have to, because you're as a child, you're overwhelmed. You don't know what to do with this. So you push it under the carpet. Your body does that for you to make you survive. Because you wouldn't survive if you feel this pain ongoingly and you throw a tantrum and you throw a tantrum. So your body switches it off. Mm-hmm. And then later you wonder, why do I never know what I want? Why do I have difficulties deciding? Why? And, why? Simple. Because it's switched off. It's disconnected. But the disconnect is happening on a deeper level than what you know about. Especially with the things we never got, because it's easy to say, oh, this happened to me, I had this accident, or this and that happened to me. That's easier to name, but it's much more difficult to name when it was not there. So to say, I was lacking understanding, I was lacking a person to give me guidance, I was lacking somebody to support me when I wander off the path. I lacked somebody who was actually acknowledging me, approving of me, loving me the right way, giving me enough cuddles, stroking my back, or telling me off if I don't do my homework after school. Because some of our parents were too permissive. So they were allowing us a lot of freedom, but they didn't give us enough guidance. So we end up being procrastinators and, have no discipline and all of that. And we're harming ourselves simply because we haven't learned how to deal with ourselves and our emotions.
So this is the way it happens. It gets swiped onto the carpet in our lives. So it remains there. And so what can we do about it? How can we get it out? You said it was easy. You said it was simple, the technique. Yeah. And I understand it's done through the body. Could you reveal a bit about how it's actually done? How you get those things out of your life?
I said earlier I got the T-shirt, and actually Lucka, she made a T-shirt last time I was in Rozhovor. She had a T-shirt made, or in Prague, I can't remember. She had a T-shirt that said, "Let that shit go, shake."
Yeah, I've seen it. Great.
And this is actually the way to go. So your body is a mirror of what you're holding, what you're avoiding, where the tension is. So in your body, you have areas of tension where there is too much holding. And you have areas where there's kind of like no energy, and there's areas where you have a lot of energy. You don't necessarily know about it, but some people know, oh, I'm tense in the neck, my shoulders, my back, my lower back, whatever. I've got migraines, something. Some people know about the tension in the body, and some people know, oh, I'm lacking energy, I'm so depleted. So all of that is a function of your nervous system dysregulating or regulating in an intention of saving you, but making you become tense in the body. So when we, for example, do the yoga, we specifically open the areas where we hold the anger, the fear, the overwhelm, the sadness, the grief. Because if you didn't get something, there is grief in your system, but you're not allowing it. Because for many people, grief and sadness would be weakness, so they push it away. We don't do grief. But there is a lot of anger and grief and sadness in the system. Once you start opening the doors, once you take the carpet off, there's a lot of old emotion coming out. Now, some people get afraid of these emotions because they haven't learned how to deal with their emotionality. So when we allow the body to actually move in the natural way it would move with emotions, we make it far easier to process. Because at the end of the day, our emotions are like a shortcut signal for the whole body to prepare for some action. So for example, when you get scared, you prepare to run away. So you do, and you want to run away. So the tension goes here, you get lightweight, your body wants to run, okay? So the energy is there. So now if you don't use it, it gets stored in your fascia, it gets stored in your system. Now, when you release it by stomping, by jumping, by shaking, you're actually processing and using that energy that was stored so that you become free and loose again. Same with anger. A lot of people were told off when they got angry. So anger is kind of like ooh. Not everybody. Some people love anger because it's a lot of life force. But, some people have their difficulties with it. So when you suppress anger long enough, your life force also gets limited because you cannot allow the same frequency of energy in the body. But now when we assist the body in the shaking, in the movement, to actually shake in a vigorous way, I mean, you're not hitting somebody, you're not killing somebody, but the energy is in the body. Like I could kill somebody, but I'm allowed to move it through. Then the body gets the permission to actually move with life force. And then you discover that it's not just anger back in the body, but it's also life force, like joy, enthusiasm, ecstasy. It's also allowed back. So the one thing is the shaking that we use to loosen up, the stuck stuff, basically. Because as we know, vibration breaks things. So the rigidity in the body has to let go when you shake it a lot. And the other thing is, we also use softer methods, like we use connection, we use touch, possibly when it's not necessarily COVID times. So it's like, what to do, right? So because what we have lost is connection, first and foremost to ourselves, but then also in the aftermath to other people, because we had to disconnect to keep ourselves safe. So this is why we use the physical, the body techniques, and sometimes simple nervous system techniques that reset us so that we are actually able to open up and connect. Because if you are in stress mode, when you are in fight and flight, you will not connect. You will not go to somebody and, right? Not happening. And this is why when you are in fight and flight mode, it's very difficult who is under stress on an open, curious level, because the doors are shut, if you so wish.
So how do we open them?
First of all, we regulate the nervous system. We become aware of where we are. Okay, so we feel the tension. We notice, where's the tension in our body? And then we can even do it now. We can do a little technique that shows you how quickly your nervous system can switch from stress to release. You want to do this now or later?
Yeah, can we do it right now?
We can do it right now, immediately. It's very simple, and it's quite effective. And you can actually remember that and do it more often during the day, because it's such a simple technique that pulls the switch from stress to relaxation. So now, just for you to get an idea of where you are in your nervous system, try to look over your shoulder. Just see how far your head goes to the side when you look over your shoulder.
Just one moment, please. I would like to challenge you all who are watching this. Just do it. Please don't just look at us, but do it. Let's go through this. Can we do it all together, Dorothe? It's not just for me.
All together.
Okay. Yeah. So please, let's do it together. If you're watching this live, or then later on, just let's do it together. You won't get a touch of it if you don't try it. So let's.
No, and it's amazing. It's amazing. You have to do it with your own body now, otherwise you don't remember. So, first of all, just check tension in the body. How do you feel? And then, yeah, exactly. I know. Especially when you're sitting on the computer. So just notice the level of tension in your neck and in your shoulders. And just to make you more aware of it, okay? Just see how far you can look to the side or over your shoulders. So how far does your head go to the side? You're not stressing, you're just looking, okay? Just see how far can you get. Just see. And remember, okay? And now we reset the button, okay? Now, very simple. You clasp your hands together, so in each other, like this. Yes. Now you put it behind your head. Still doable, right? And you feel your fingers on your head, and you relax your head, it can go into your fingers, no problem. Now what you do, eyes only, okay? Nose stays, arms stay, everything stays. The eyes only go to the right. And you keep your eyes there. And you can close them or you can keep them open, it doesn't really matter. But just eyes to the right, and we keep them there. And I keep on talking because we have to measure. It's approximately 30 seconds. It can be shorter once you get more routine in this. It can be much shorter because you will notice that at a certain stage, you will either breathe deeply or swallow or yawn, or you will have the feeling of like something flowing behind your forehead or dizziness. But we will keep our eyes to the right for approximately 30 seconds just now so that you can try it out at home. So you see how it works. And my body is already swallowing, but we still keep on going. You just look to the right, just your eyes, nothing else.
I get a bit dizzy.
Yes, that's exactly it. So look back to the middle. And now look to the other side. Your nose stays, your head stays straight, and just your eyes go to the other side. Everything else stays forward. Just the eyes to left. And keep your eyes there. And again, 30 seconds. So I keep on talking. And my body is quite quick because I do that very often. And if it's too hard for you, you can return your eyes a tiny little bit, but keep them to the left, even if you don't look as extreme to the left. And you can close your eyes also if that feels better to you. And then keeping your eyes to the left until you either swallow, yawn, sigh, or until you feel the flow or some kind of something happening inside. And now you look back forwards again. You release your hands. Take a deep breath. And now, just for you to see what happened, look to the right and look to the left. And see how far you get now.
Wow.
Did anything change?
Yeah, definitely. On the right side, I've seen just the plant we have there, and after that, I've seen the shade of the plant as well, which is like about a meter away.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely.
And now I tell you the secret. What that is, we have in our nervous system two functions, basically. Well, we have more, but anyway. So the main interesting functions here is, you can do your head like this. You can release it because you will notice when you do your shoulders that your shoulders have also released tension. Just notice what happened in your shoulders.
Oh, it's quite pleasant.
Yeah, it's nice, hey?
Okay. I feel
is there still too much tension in your shoulders? Then we can go on with another exercise. But I just ask, is there too much tension still?
Well, let's do another one. Come on.
Okay.
I like that.
You need a bit more space. If you have armrests on your chair, it's a bit difficult. Can you do it? Because you have to put your arms across each other. Okay. And then you grab your elbows. You grab your opposite elbows. Right? Okay. You let your arms come down. And now let them come down to your body. So they're really resting on your belly. And now you just turn side to side and you let your elbows really go as far as they can to the right and to the left. You just go right, left. You turn like this.
And do I turn my spine or do I turn like...
You turn the spine and the elbows so they can go all the way across your body. You just turn the whole body. Yes.
Well, Dorothe, I'm not sure this is good for me because I'm after surgery of my spine.
Okay.
2 months, and I shouldn't be, twisting it too much.
Okay.
I don't want to risk it, because I just...
No, then you don't do it. I just complete it with the audience, okay? Because now I've restarted them. And then they do it on the level of the elbows, the same thing, like twisting like this. And then they do it overhead like this. And now if you've done that 3 times to all sides and you let your arms come down again, you will notice that the shoulders are much freer. But for you, with the surgery on the spine, I've got another one that does not involve twists, okay? So you take your fingertips and you find that soft spot where your hard skull goes into your soft neck. Okay, just below the hard skull. There is a sensitive point just underneath your hard skull. You can feel it, can you? Okay, you put your fingers on there and you gently pull that towards your face. So you pull it to the front.
Mm-hmm.
And now you gently just lift your head up and lower it down, just gently, okay? While you're pressing forwards. And then you go a little lower with your fingers and you do the same, just lifting and lowering. And then, yeah, hey? And just lifting and lowering, and you can walk your fingers down your neck, just next to your spine. And you will feel a release. You will feel like something is starting to let go and release.
It's really weird, but I feel the emotions.
Oh, beautiful. So they are welcome.
Wow.
Do you mind sharing?
No, not at all. Not at all. Actually, it like got me nearly crying.
Yes, please.
Like now I feel goosebumps, all my body, and something was definitely like happening there.
Wow. See, powerful and quick.
Mm-hmm.
And now keep on opening with this, exactly with this. And you know what you do now, because the emotions are already running, right? So we don't want to push them away. So allowing these emotions, and as if you're talking, because this is your little one, this is your inner child waking up, releasing the emotions, or however old you were then, right? So this is your nervous system resetting, and to let your nervous system know this is absolutely all right. Yeah, just gently hug yourself. Just hug yourself with feeling this is all right. Okay, and let yourself feel this is all right, and as if you're telling yourself in your own language internally, I have survived, I'm safe now, right? Holding yourself as if you were holding one of your children after they had, they had to cry or they had a fright, and you just hold yourself and you let yourself know, yes, it's just saying yes internally to whatever you're feeling, right? Yeah.
Wow.
Simple, hey? And now what you do, like you do with your children, I know I'm going a bit fast now. Of course, I would usually do that slower. Then just go over your forehead and over your head as if you're stroking. This is the meridian of all your middle emotions, just stroking over it. Yes. So how does that feel? Yes, and you're sighing out. This is exactly it. You're releasing it. You're sighing it out. You're telling your body it's all right. You survived. You made it. And by doing this gentle, soft movement, you had the sigh coming immediately out of your body. Do you feel it? How does it feel?
Well, I would need to stop the interview now, to be honest. It's really good. Wow. I didn't expect that. It really, got me emotional very much. Well, it surprised me. Wow.
Sure.
Okay.
Wow.
All right.
Beautiful.
That really surprised me. How deep it was, because after a few movements of the head, I immediately got the feeling that I need to start crying.
Yes.
Like for no reason.
Beautiful. But this is the thing, because it's not happening in the mind, it's happening in the body, and you're giving the body the signal, because this is where the parasympathetic nervous system gets out, is most prominent. So when you touch here, you say, you can relax now, you survived. You give the body the communication, you're safe now, you can release, and it releases whatever it needs to release without you having to have a long story about it. It's just a release. And it feels so beautiful, because if we would complete it now, because of course at the workshop or something, we complete it, right? And you have the permission to fully feel the emotion, to have the tears coming, to release it completely. And very often you also remember what happened. It doesn't have to. It can be very non-personal, kind of like only a release. This is why it's called trauma release and clearing, because it just...
You mean that you actually get the memory what happened, right? Oh.
Sometimes you do, but it's not necessary. Sometimes it's completely story-free. Sometimes it's really just the nervous system releasing the emotionality. And when you give, as you know already, when you give the space to that emotion and you do not push it away under the carpet again, but you allow it the space, and as if you were holding yourself, right? Yes, and you just confirm it, you affirm it, you accept it, you acknowledge, yes, this is here, right? Physically, with touch, hugging, feeling, stroking, right? You tell the feeling you are all right. And by approving of it and saying to your body, this is all right, what you're actually doing is you're saying to your little one, to yourself, I am all right. Because this is what was missing when we were emotional. We weren't approved of, we weren't confirmed, we weren't helped and assisted and supported to deal with it and to learn about ourselves and our emotions. But it was like this. And this is why it got stuck, because it had no avenue of expression. And when you give permission to the body to release and express it, how beautiful. And then, of course, you go on releasing and embracing it completely. And what then happens is that you feel very much at peace because you feel the connection again. It is almost like magic that all of a sudden you feel connected, you feel held, embraced, and you feel safe again. And it sounds like, yeah, well, why would I feel safe? But what it does to your nervous system, you relax completely and you feel at home. Bam, here I am.
Yeah, that's what I feel. I feel like that this, like this peace inside, like everything's got quiet, and it's not something you usually get into during much longer process. But here it like happened instantly, like within
bam, you switch. Yes.
And the reason is that it actually has gone through the body. Yes. It didn't go through the mind, but wow.
Yeah, you bypass the mind and the mind catches up later. So like we're talking now, you start to understand what happened. You're connecting with your little one. You have memories, whatever. But it happened before you started thinking.
Wow, that really got me. That surprised me a lot.
You wanted a demonstration. That was a short one.
Wow. Well, Dorothe, Linda Malinovska, she commented that she loves the exercise, and my shoulders are loose, she writes. Thanks so much. And she said that I had my little process. I've had my little process. Okay, Dorothe, you come into Czech Republic. You come in soon.
8th of October. Yay!
8th of October. And you will have a workshop in French Stát pod Radhoštěm, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
It will be 4 hours long workshop. Before we actually went live, I asked you, what could be done in 4 hours? It's not enough time. Could you respond to that question of mine, the concept of mine, once more? What could be actually done in 4 hours?
Yes, a lot. Like you saw what can be done in 10 minutes. Just multiply that, okay? No, it's seriously now, because when you come into that workshop, you are kind of like interested, what would that be? What happens is I give a bit of explanation. It's not too, yeah?
It's Rozhovor pod Radhoštěm, not French Stát pod Radhoštěm. Sorry. Sorry, it's Rozhovor pod Radhoštěm. If you have a link for the workshop or so, Ondřej, please just put it in the comments. Sorry about that, Rozhovor. Yeah.
Sorry, Rozhovor, exactly. And yeah, what happens there is I will explain a little bit how that works, what the nervous system is actually doing, how we come to store the things we do. We haven't spoken about that, but it's now, doesn't matter. Okay. But I explain a little bit how that works with the nervous system, but very playful, okay? It's not long and dreadful, but it's really, and I'm using toys. People like toys. I actually have toys here because I explain with my toys, and you actually get to play with them how it works, that our nervous system reacts or distracts, like this. Okay. So it's playful and it's easy to understand, simple language, but you get an idea of what's happening. And then we do practical exercises immediately, like what we did now, but different and more and other. And then again, we have some shares, and we have actually a complete shaking session. So we have a complete trauma yoga session, which is targeted. You don't have to know yoga. It doesn't matter how old you are, what your body is doing. Even if you have an injury or an operation, you can do simple yoga because it's more emotion yoga. It's trauma yoga. So you do simple yoga, and then we do shaking later. It's easy. Everybody can do that. It's very natural. Once you get the gist of it, it's very natural. And then we have some shares, and because we do that in like a it's tailored in a way so that your nervous system can understand from the mind, can feel from the heart, and the body can release, and you will actually feel very renewed afterwards. And Lucy has a couple of beautiful shares on her website now of people who have only done that workshop, and it made a world of a difference to them. So even if you don't do longer programs and whatever, but just doing it has helped them tremendously. Like those 5 minutes now that we did, the 10 minutes, right? So just think you do that in 4 hours, and plus you get to understand, plus you get to relax longer. Because when we work with the nervous system, what we also want to do, we want to give you a chance to really relax and really integrate, because we rush too much in life. We have too much stress, so we never get to really relax and recover. And what we also do there is you recover very deeply. So that peace that you were experiencing in this coming home, we really give the body and the nervous system a chance to integrate it completely. So it is like a short wellness treatment, like a wellness weekend in 4 hours.
Well, very intensive wellness weekend, I guess, in 4 hours. Okay, and this workshop would be held online and offline as well.
Yes.
So
because we don't know about the situation, because we don't know whether and how many people will be allowed into the hall. Actually, the tickets are sold, but we don't know how the situation is or will be. And the flight is booked. I will be there. So, however, we will film it and also have it online. So, yeah. Okay. Let's hope and pray that everybody can do it in person, and if not, we can still have it online, and it's just as effectful. It's really easy. Yeah. Like you see now, we're talking over a screen, right? But it's still working.
Yeah, obviously it's still working. Wow. Okay, that's great. There's some course already running at this moment, which is can we talk about it? Where we can get it? Or Andre, could you give us the link to the course?
Yes, please.
What is it? How long is it for? Or what does it do?
Okay, so a year ago, I filmed my Weird and Wonderful Tools, and the theory for it, I filmed it on beautiful Bali. So I really went onto the island, and I had a film crew, and they filmed me, and there's practical videos and theory combined, and it's actually 11 hours. So practice and theory. Wow. So it's actually a complete weekend workshop, if you so will. And it's 4 modules, and it really has a lot of content. And it explains in detail how this works. And you get meditations with it, you get movements with it, you get yoga, you get shaking, you get all of the above and more. And it's designed for people who want to integrate their trauma more, who want to really work, or who are aware that it's the body, mind, and the emotion. It's not just a mind. So it's really to heal your whole body, mind, and to get you to an integrated experience so that you can actually live life to the fullest, so that you're not being limited by all your old patterns. Plus the workshop that is online at the moment in English, it is being translated and at this moment being uploaded in Slovak as well. And Czech will come in October, and German a little later. So we'll have different languages. For now it's English, but Slovak very soon, Czech soon. Also, we have a monthly meeting with it. So with your experiences, you have a group, a community that you can share with, because it's nice to discover that you're not the only one. It's very good to hear that your experience is not unique, but other people share that. And then I will have a monthly talk where I share a little bit and then question and answer, so that we can actually stay in the energy and support each other. Because, we hold hands in the human dilemma, so we don't do it on our own. It's stay connected, because this is where we go. Connect. with each other, and foremost with yourself.
Wow. That's been exhausting 49 minutes for me. I'm really done. I'm like, I was ready after the exercise, but
sorry, it came too early, maybe.
No.
We should have done the exercise in the end so that you can go and rest now.
I wouldn't have thought that it would be as intensive as it was. No, that's fine. Dorothe, is there anything else which should be said now, which we haven't spoken about? I know that this topic is so wide that it's ending for the weekend workshop, but it's great that we can get it in the courses or soon in Rozhovor Dorothe.
Well, what I can recommend is for people from Czech and Slovak, they can go to Lucy's website, which is traumaclearing.cz. I hope it's somewhere in the comments as well.
You have a link for that in the comments.
Yeah, because there's more information. And also, of course, if you have more questions or you want to know anything, connect on Facebook, ask me questions. I'm happy to share, happy to direct you to whatever. Let's talk about it. And for now, I thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
Dorothe, before I let you go, I have one more question. It's actually something which is very happening right now for us. The situation around the virus, or it's politics around it. It got really intensive in Czech Republic yesterday, day before yesterday, and I'm not sure if people will feel the same, but I don't get affected so much by the politics and what's happened on the government level, but the things which happened, day before yesterday, it gets really serious for us. For us who don't want to be vaccinated, who don't want to be repressed for being ourselves, and I feel in past days I feel trauma.
Yeah.
Is there anything which could be done, to let it sink into you, and don't to be influenced by what's actually happening outside?
Yes. Okay. So you raised a very important topic, because all these points pressing, and so I actually, after I came home from Bali, I wasn't even using it so much. I have actually in this pandemic designed more of these tools, because I needed to work with my clients online, like with you now, and I needed to tell them how to work with themselves so that they get out of the trauma mode and relax again, because this is what's so important, that when you get caught in this turmoil of news and resistance and whatever that is, what happens is you put yourself into defense. You think you're threatened and you put yourself into defense mode, and your whole nervous system is in alarm, which is really not healthy. So switch back, use this technique here, use this with the hands to switch your system back. And the very quick way, if you cannot do lengthy things because you're going into a meeting or you're face to face with somebody or police or whatever, the best thing that you could do is sigh out, like really. Aha, notice, exactly. Did you notice how your shoulders were coming down immediately?
Yeah. It was really
okay.
Really.
So sigh out, because sighing out is switching your nervous system immediately. Sigh. Yes. And if you have, how good does that feel, please, right?
It feels good. So simple.
It feels fantastic. We forget this, because this is our body's natural release. Because when you are stressed, you're holding your breath without knowing. You breathe in and you hold it, and you hold even more. You puff yourself up and you hold it here. When you sigh out, you let go of the tension, your body can relax and come down. And if you are already, because some of us, unfortunately, when we are exposed to too much fear and that vibration of tension and threat in our surroundings, some of us get into anxiety mode. So if you are one of the people who gets into anxiety a lot, there's actually another breathing technique that I will share with you, which is not maybe suitable for the public when you're sitting in a meeting, but sighing out in a meeting is possible, right? You can sit in a meeting and just sigh, or you can prolong your breath out. But what you can do at home, if nobody's watching, or if it's just your loved ones, you make a sound with it, okay? And I call it the woo. It sounds a little bit like the signal horn of a boat, right? Like woo. like this. But what you're creating is vibration in the body. So you breathe in towards your belly, which is not happening when you're stressed because you're in the chest. So you try to breathe towards your belly. And then when you're breathing out, you make the sound with the lips vibrating and I know it sounds weird, but you breathe out until there's no breath anymore, and then you push the rest out, and then you let it come back slowly and experience it. Do it once more. I will keep my mouth shut so that you can actually feel it, how it works. So breathe in towards your belly and then do woo and breathe out.
Okay, it's similar vibration, like if you do the Om chanting.
A little bit similar. Actually, when you chant Om, it has the same effect. So chant Om if that's easier for you.
Okay. Interesting.
So how does it feel in the body now?
Well, yeah, I feel better. I feel like happier.
Yes. And you can chant Om always. It's always good because you have it's very good. And this Wu breathing helps you to switch back, and the vibration helps you to actually connect to the body again. Because what happens when we get scared and anxious, and when we feel threatened, and when we need to go into defense mode, we disconnect. So we don't feel anymore other than stress, And the only thing you would feel in stress mode and when you are threatened is you feel more of the threat, and you see more of the attack, and you see more of everything that is threatening and potentially dangerous. So switch your nervous system back, sigh out, and then look at the world in a different way. Spread love, not the virus.
I don't think we could end up on a better topic than spread love, not the virus. Dorothe, thank you. Thanks very much for chatting today, for the interview. It's been amazing. I'm looking forward to seeing you soon, seeing your course, and just getting deeper into this because I think I've tried loads of techniques, but I believe that because I'm too much in my head, and the people keep telling me that the get things out through my body could, as we tried, it was just a little taste of what you can do. It could be the way for me, just to bypass the mind, as you said. And thank you. Thanks very much. It's been amazing. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
It's been a pleasure. Thanks a lot. All right. Thank you. Thanks very much, everyone, for being here with us, for your comments. Unfortunately, we haven't been able to engage that much with them. But hopefully you found this as amazing as I did, and hope to see you soon here or on the workshop with Dorothe in October. Bye-bye. Good night.
Bye.